Hi guys, welcome back to GAF with G.O.L.D.R.U.S.H. This is part 2 of our episode with our Story Gat Melody. If you're interested in watching the video that accompanies this podcast episode, feel free to go to our YouTube channel at G.O.L.D.R.U.S.H.GY. For now, thank you so much for your patience and enjoy the episode.
I have always been a storyteller. Like I didn't go to school to learn to tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was teaching in Guyana, when I left for the United States, my headmaster said to me, he said, make sure when you go to America, you do something where you go talk. He was saying to me, ensure that when you go to the United States, you engage in some kind of work where you will have to use your voice.
Mm-hmm.
So I love telling the stories, and I guess it's what I came to do. I know that because some of the stories, it's not even my stories. Things just come in my head and I have to share it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say are some of the personal or professional achievements that you're particularly proud of since leaving Guyana?
The way I view life, I don't count what's done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really don't count what's done because I'm thinking about the next thing that I need to get done. But I started university in Guyana. So when I came here, I continued my education. My husband made that promise to me that I am going to finish my university, get my master's, and all of that. I think what I'm most proud of is the fact that I was able to go back home and have a legacy there that I can give to my children. We do have a bed and breakfast in Guyana and a garden that is open. It's not yet open to the public, but it's going to be open to the public soon. And I love working with children and the elders. And that's why we call them elders and not elderly. Because when you call them elderly, then you're thinking that they have nothing to offer you. And that's why I was so happy when you said, that you understand the importance of connecting with those who have gone before you so that you can make your journey a little better. So I'm proud of the work that we do with children. Like in July, I went to the school in my village and I said to the principal, I said, give me the children that you consider the dunces. Guyanese term, the children, they like to call them slow learners and all these labels. I said, give us those children. And we are taking those children on an amazing academic journey in July. And the people who sponsored each one of them are all fans from our Story Gat Melody. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of you guys for supporting this. So I am really proud of that because when I look at the children, I see myself. I remember I used to eat on Wednesday and I'm not eating again until Saturday. It doesn't mean that I'm not eating. It means that in order to eat, I'm going to the market with a bag. And when the people finish selling, we are picking up the piece of balange or eggplant that is half rotten. We have a knife, it's called specking, and we're cutting off the rotten part and we're putting the good part in the bag. See an edo, it's half rotten. We're taking off the rotten part and we're putting it in a bag. That was how we used to get our food. Or we would go to the ocean and the herons used to come over the ocean and we would catch them and boil them and eat them. So I've had a life where I struggled and I think my greatest achievement is when I'm in that space and I'm giving my all to those children. It's when I decide to take my best china, like expensive china, and just put it in front of these children and give them this amazing experience. That's like, then I'm at my best. That's like my highest achievement. That's it for me. I feel a fulfillment that I don't feel with anything else.
Wow. Since you've been talking about your experience and your love of teaching children, how have you influenced your own children? All the lessons you've learned?
Well, my eldest daughter is actually, she just finished her degree At 20, she's now 21. And at 21, she's going to start her master's and she's going to be a teacher. And the second daughter, well, she's going for a vet. And the boy who is 12, he is actually a playwright. Like he can write a play in 3 days.
Wow.
But in addition to that, more than anything else, I love that they have compassion. I love that they're engaged in this work. My daughter, my eldest daughter, when she was on spring break, she could have gone and have fun. You know what she did? She bought a ticket. She went down to Guyana and she worked on the business there. She had lights in the night, planting plants in the garden because she understands the picture. So I'm proud when I see they have compassion. I'm proud when they understand the legacy and when they're ready to take the baton to the next generation.
How do you think that you imparted that on your children? Because, before we started recording the episode, you mentioned that your children technically not born on Guyanese soil, although they are Guyanese through lineage. How did you inspire this type of connection to these children to their motherland?
From the time they were born, they were in Guyana. When they were young, I would just put them in the rain, with their bare underwear, and let them be. Like, we would go to all the camps, all the different things. I just give them like a rough Guyanese experience. And I consistently talk to them about the importance of not selling land, the importance of what we're doing there, the importance of the legacy, what we're sacrificing for them. And as they get older, they're understanding that. But what I did was I just do what I think it's called brain soaking. I just shift them into the culture and they either sink or swim.
And they've all swam.
Yes. Well, they're swimming.
They're swimming.
Yes. They are swimming, yes.
I love to hear that because, when you're growing up overseas, it's kind of hard for a lot of people to have that authentic Guyanese experience. So they know, my mom was born in this place, my grandparents, my ancestors are from this place, but there isn't so much of an authentic kind of experience with that homeland. So it's beautiful to hear that your children were there roughing it out and having a really good experience. That's something they'll never forget. And that's something you can't really experience overseas in America or in other places. So yeah.
Yes. They're the ones who will be teaching. Like when we teach, my son who is 12, he's a teacher in the school. My daughter, she's going to be teaching. She's a pianist, so she's going to be teaching some of the children how to play the piano.
Nice.
They're all teachers in the school. They all have to take my key. My son, he has to be the janitor. He has to open the school, close it in the afternoon. So they all have their role. Like the other day, he was saying to me, Mommy, what subject am I teaching this year?
Yeah. A lot of responsibility for a 12-year-old. I like it. Good job, Mikey.
So what advice would you give yourself or someone else who wants to, stay connected to their homeland, their Guyanese culture?
I would say it's important to go as often as you can, because one of the most important thing is being remembered. I know that there are people who cannot go to Guyana because there is no connection. They don't feel connected. They are not, they don't remember anything. I think one of the thing, and it's not talking about our story, but I think if you are lost and you don't know where to start by watching our story, because culture is really about remembering. Culture, the main part of culture is memory. Memory of the food, memory of the music, memory of the things we used to do. It's all in the memory. And so if you can be in a space where this memory is evoked, that's the beginning. But more than that, I think you have to understand the value of your culture, the lessons that your culture can teach you, the importance of your identity and its attachment to its culture. Because not everybody who is outside of Guyana want to connect to Guyana. Everybody doesn't want to connect to Guyana. So you must, first of all, you must want that. And I find that it's either you decide that I'm going to accept this as my authentic experience, or I'm just going to change and create a whole different and new reality, and I'm going to suppress all of those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to choose which one you want.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to stay connected, then I would say not just, have the memory, but go to the country, have land there, have investment, do things in the country. That's the place of your birth. I feel more connected to Guyana than I feel to the United States. I love gardening. And the relationship that I have with the soil in America is a different relationship that I have with the soil in Guyana. The soil in Guyana it's like the essence of my being. I feel at one with the soil. Here, the soil is a stranger to me. We coexist. And that's the relationship, not just that's the relationship that I have with the place that I'm in.
I'm curious to know then, because storytelling, I used to hear the stories from my grandmother when I was growing up, especially when we had blackout. Like that would be the time that she would be sharing our cultural Guyanese stories. What have you learned from the children that you work with in Guyana? You know, they are on the soil, they are of the soil, but are they still as connected to their history and their lineage through storytelling? What have you seen?
What I do when I go home, that's what I do. I go into the schools and I tell them the stories. And they love it, love it, love it. Now, our generation is the missing link in the storytelling. We have to be the ones to see that there is a whole missing link. Like we have to be intentional about teaching our culture. But first, we have to see that culture is tangible and it's valuable. We have a tendency to want to just take up somebody else's culture and wear it as a badge of honor instead of accepting our own. So the kids, they fall into that category where they have parents who are not, they themselves don't know the culture, they don't know the history, so they can't teach it. And so we engage in that work of teaching them, and they love it. They love Anansi story. They love Jumbie stories. I just love to go and just sit on the floor, and the children are there, and we're sitting and we're talking, and I'm telling them stories. Like I have not allowed my inner child to die. Yes, I love being with the children.
So, in what ways do you believe that the Guyanese diaspora then plays a crucial role in the development of our homeland and in, strengthening and maintaining our stories abroad?
Wow. So that's two questions. The first one is in the development of the homeland. So I'm going to touch on that first. I think that when I go to Guyana, the reason why we actually built a bed and breakfast is because we would go to Guyana and we did not find a place to stay that we thought was really in our area. So I think one of the things that we can do is, and especially if we have the means, is to put our money where our mouth is. Sometimes we like to complain about, oh, we are not seeing this or we are not seeing that. But there are quite a few Guyanese who have gone back and they've made changes in their community. I think that the fact that we have this experience where we have these dual perspectives, we have two reality. We know what it is to live in Guyana. We know what it is to live in a different place. And because in the United States, this is a capitalist society, it really opens your eyes to see things that you can, I don't want to say capitalize on, but ways that you can improve your community. So I would say go back into your community that looks as if it's sleeping, and you become the life, you become the vibrancy, you do something, change the narrative. So that's the first thing that you can do is build something, add something that you're not seeing. Oh gosh, this is small, this is how this village is. Yeah, go home, plant a flower plant in front of your yard. If you believe that the place is looking so, whatever it is, that's the first thing. In terms of culture, you have to come to a consciousness of culture before you can actually teach it. For me, when I was living in Guyana, I do not think that I was conscious of my history as an Afro-Guyanese. I did not think that I was conscious of the stories, all of that. I feel as if when everything was taken away from me and I was outside of that space, and I actually decided to start to do the work on me, because prior to that, I was not even interested in that, because I had trauma. I had low self-esteem. I had all these things. I'm fighting for survival. I'm not thinking about culture. I'm not thinking about stories. I'm not thinking about any of that. But for you to be a creative, for you to do that, everything else has to be in place. Like, you have to work on yourself so that that's not taking up your thoughts. And then you're at a place where you can be creative and you can think of culture and you can think of all these different stuff. So there is so much healing work that has to go on before people can start thinking about things like culture and those kinds of stuff. At least that was my experience. And I'm thinking that, it might be the same.
I totally agree with the healing aspect, but I wonder if we wait too long to work on the healing, when time is passing, are we losing our stories? Are we losing our culture because we're not preserving it? So do you think it's possible to do it simultaneously, to heal and also preserve at the same time?
Yes,
And what does that look like?
Yes, you're right. You have to. What it looks like is that you present your stories in your authentic space and you tell the stories from where you are. And the beautiful thing is that people will relate to you when you are authentic. That's it. So I share my stories. I let people know, I'm not healed. And I don't think you ever get to that place when you have a trauma brain. I don't think you become fully healed because, the trauma brain goes into a thing like that and you don't even realize it. But as you said, you rightly said that the work has to be done simultaneously because you cannot wait. You really can't wait. You have to. And that is why there are people like me and people like you, because there is no single story. As Chimamanda Adichie, I think she said, there, the danger of a single story. Ours is not a single story. And so we all must tell the Guyanese stories.
Yeah. So
yes.
how would you say these Guyanese stories have evolved, over time? Because one thing that I know from Story Gat Melody is that you come from authentic, ancestral historical stories. So how would you say that, these stories have evolved over time and how have they traveled?
Also, like, did your children, like, what was their experience? They're growing up overseas, but they have a close tie with their Guyanese history. So, have you seen our, like, Anansi stories, like Afia was saying, change, or do you think that they have been preserved from the way that you remember when you were a child?
I think that because stories are a part of oral tradition, every time you tell them, they change. Like language itself, language is not fixed. It's not something that's fixed. It's something that's constantly changing. And because of that, the stories are changing, but the principles of the stories do not change, because I will share a story with you guys. And I'll show you that the principles do not change. The storyline, the message will not change, but the story will change with time. And that is just a natural part of living and growing, change. Even the language, even the way we speak today, even the words that are in the Creolese today, they're not the same words that were there. They're not used as much. And so when I use a certain word, people might say, oh gosh, long time did I hear that word? What they're saying is, wow, I haven't heard that word in such a long time. Yes, but stories change. And it's sad that it's not the same, because we have to have storytellers. For stories to stay a part of the culture, we must be willing to become the voice for those stories. In a culture where we don't think that our story is relevant, when you come from a mindset of colonialism and there is this colonial mentality, you just believe that cornflakes better than black tea. And that's just a metaphor to say that you believe that what is outside and comes in, it's better than what you have. And so you're fighting with that too. So people, don't want a long time story. Me want an old time story. They don't want to, some people don't want to hear the stories because they think that that's our past. That represented a time when life was hard. Represented a time when we were not educated. Many people who thought that the fact that I speak Guyanese Creoles, that I was really uneducated. There are many people who write comments to me and tell me that, why you don't want to learn to speak English? Why you not going to learn to do that? They will say things like, go learn to speak English.
Wow.
Go learn. Yes.
Realistically, both should be able to exist.
That's true.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So that's the fight. All right. So are you guys ready for the story? I don't know what.
Ready.
Yes, we're ready.
I'm already excited.
And before you do that, we want to give you the chance to shout out all of your platforms. We will of course tag them, but please do allow people to know where they can find this wonderful storytelling lady.
Yes. So guys, it's Story Gat Melody on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Story Gat Melody. And also, if you want to know more about the school that I do in Guyana and the work that I do there, that is Westside Leadership Academy on Facebook. And also, if you want to know about the tea parties and all the different stuff that we do for the children, that is Cadence Garden at Westside. Cadence Garden is the garden that was named in memory of a son that I lost, stillbirth. And so the garden is dedicated to his memory. And Cadence Garden at Westside is on Facebook also. All right. So now, Guyanese stories, you guys might have to put the English in there, but our stories are told in our cultural language. All right. So if you're not Guyanese, somebody will help you to translate this. When me been small, me remember me grandmother, when it was moonlight night. We not light, was just the moon in the sky. We used to sit down on the front step. And my grandmother used to say, how much egg you can eat? And if you say you can eat 2 eggs, you can tell 2 stories. And if you say you can eat 3 eggs, you can tell 3 stories. But no matter how much egg we say we could eat, we used to like when we grandmother start tell this story. Mama used to tell me the story of Salambo. Salambo, come ya. Salam Britannia, come ya. Mini, come ya. Le kwakutania, one stand there. That is what Yali's 2-1 say. Okay? Remember, you're going to say, Salambo, come ya.
Okay.
Say it. Salambo,
come ya.
Salam Britannia, come ya.
Salam Britannia, come ya.
Mini, come ya.
Mini, come ya.
Le kwakutania, one stand there.
La wakut.
Le kwakutania, one stand there.
La wakukwanya.
Kwakutania.
Kwakutania.
One stand there.
One stand there.
Okay, before I go on in this story, all these names, why I love this story? Because all the names are names of enslaved Africans. Salambo, Salam Britannia, Mini, and Kwakutania. Okay, you can actually see the word Kwaku and the language I came from. So, right next door to Bear Goat lived Bear Wolf. And every morning before Bear Goat left the house, she used to call, she picnic them. You guys can just say the come here. Let me go. She used to call, she picnic them. Salambo.
Come here.
Salam Britannia.
Come here.
Mini.
Come here.
Le Kwakutania.
Come here.
No, le Kwakutania one stand there. And she would call Salambo, Salam Britannia, and Minnie. And she would tell them, she said, let me tell you, when you see me left this house, don't open the front door. Don't open the front door. And they go say, yes, mommy, we ain't gonna open the front door. But Mr. Wolf lived next door. And Mr. Wolf had planned for them. The first day when the mother gone out, take little flour, and he take the flour and powder up his face, powder up all his neck so he can look like bear goat. And he go by the door and hear, Salambo,
Yeah.
Salam Britannia,
Yeah.
Mini,
Yeah.
Le Kwakutanya, one stand there. And then peep through the keyhole and they say, that is not we, mother. So they did not open the door. And the next thing, the mother come home in the afternoon and she bring home a basket, she bring home polori, guinea, tampering ball, mithai, fudge, sugar cake, and sidium and jamun. And she called them and she, Salambo,
Yeah.
Salam Britannia,
Yeah.
Mini,
Yeah.
Le Kwakutanya one stand there, and them girls sit down and they eat and pour Kwakutanya one stand up behind the fridge. And in those days, the fridge had something behind it where we used to dry with clothespin, and all the panty and the socks to school the next day, they're behind the fridge. And the girls stand up there and she tremble because they left she out. When the mother gotta walk the next day, Wolf come back, but this time he drink some honey. And the thing in this life is that you got to realize that there are people who will be planning for you. Even when you're going on your journey, there are wolves out there who will be planning for you, and they will try more than once. The first time he tried, he did not get through, but he came back with he came back different now. And here, if you're a vice, you couldn't know the difference between he vice and the mother vice. That's why you gotta have discernment. Here, Salambo,
Yeah.
Salam Britannia,
Yeah.
Mini,
Yeah.
Le Kwakutanya one stand there, and they could not discern the difference between the mother vice and the wolf vice. And when you see the next one bust the door, open the door, he gobble up Salambo, he gobble up Salam Britannia, he gobble up Mini, and poor Kwakutanya one there behind the door trembling. Afternoon time when the mother come home now with a big basket for share out for she favorite. When she looks, so she start call. Here she Salambo,
Yeah.
Salam Britannia,
Yeah.
Mini,
Yeah.
Le Kwakutanya one stand there. And mothers are ready. When she called one time and she realized that she picnic advice, the lady start getting frantic. I got called frantic now. She Salambo,
Yeah.
Salam Britannia,
Yeah.
Mini,
Yeah.
one stand there. Nothing. She call again. Salambo,
Yeah.
Salam Britannia,
Yeah.
Mini,
Yeah.
Le Kwakutanya one stand there. And Kwakutanya slowly trembling come from behind that door, the fridge. And she said, Salambo nade, Salam Britannia nade, Mini nade, only me one Kwakutanya deya. You see that right there? That's the African language. The word there is the verb to be in African language. And yeah is actually Bhojpuri Hindustani for here. So that's the mixing of the culture right there. And when she said it, the mother said, what? And let me tell you, here she said, what? And she said, Mommy, when I'm in their home, remember you tell we say, now for open the door, and they open the door when the wolf change up in bites like you all, and mommy is swallow up all of them. And he gone by the sea. What a love. The mother said, what? And she grab Kwakutanya and she get a razor blade. You know what's a razor blade? And she bust it in half and she grab a she get a needle and thread and she walk straight up to the sea wall. When she reach it, who she see? But Mr. Wolf just laugh. She didn't even wake him up. And that's what you got to do. You don't have to wake up people when you on a mission. You don't have to inform people when you on a mission. You just do your work. You just get to the task. Because there are some people, if they know what the mission is, they are going to try to block the mission. They're going to stop it. She didn't do any of that. You got to wake up and broadcast. Oh, I'm going to cut one belly now. No. What she do, she just take the razor blade and she cut. She take out, she pick them, she put in some stone, she sew up back his belly, and he's still there. You got to wake up, let people wake up sometime and see work that you have done. You don't tell them nothing. Let them wake up and say, wait, what happened? That's how you gotta do it. And that's exactly what she do. And she take she picking them and she carry them home. And now she's singing a different tune when she come home. Hear what she say. Salambo.
Come, yeah.
Salam Britannia.
Come, yeah.
Mini.
Come, yeah.
And Kwakutanya come yato. And Wolf, guess what happened to he? He didn't realize when he wake up, so he catch himself. You know, some people catch yourself, there's chubby when they wake up. He wake up chubby by. And he go by the thread, so, and he put on his head, and when he makes up for drink the water, he tap it right off and drunk right there. This thing called Ben and the story end. So that's a story that that my grandmother taught us, and I love that story because I think it's so rich with the culture and rich with messages too.
There were so
that
many
are relevant,
messages,
you know, for our time.
Wow.
And I didn't even exhaust all the messages, but you know, and that's the purpose. That's what you have to do now with the stories. It's like show people how your story, your culture is relevant. Your stories are relevant. There are meanings in there for you. There are principles to live by. And that's the work.
Wow.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. That just brought me back to my childhood.
Really?
Like
Aww.
I miss those stories, and I always feel so fulfilled every time I watch a video of yours and you're sharing another story. I'm so happy that you're, you know, archiving these stories for us in digital form. So thank you for sharing that with us.
I'm going to make sure that these stories can be for the next generation. Yes.
I love that. Ms. Dion, thank you for this whole meeting, this interview, this story. It has meant so much to us, you know?
Truly. And the
are very welcome, of course. Of course, it's important. Our culture is one called Anwashan. Don't forget that. It's
Anwashan make hand come clean.
Yep. That's how we survived.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that and for your support and everything. But
of course,
before we go, we always ask the person that we're talking to help us end the episode. So how would you like to end this?
Not take your matia ifusi. Not take shame face and shake kokbe manan. That really means have boundaries and have the power to stand by your boundaries. And remember, you fly high or you fly low, one dotty, just always build up.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dion.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, we're going to gaff later.
We're going to gaff, man. Yes. We're going to gaff later.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. You're very welcome.
Bye. Peace and love.